Hi, I'm John Conrad, and I'm giving you a tour of my own fish room. So my nephew was just here this weekend and did a post on his channel about my fish room, and I thought it would be kind of fun to do my own post on it. And so I'm going to give you information that nobody's ever seen before. Just kidding. We'll see how you like it. Here we go. Alright, so going into the fish room, I'm telling you there's comfortable places to sit here in case you're waiting for me to clean my aquarium. And as Jake mentioned here, I got my own pool table, put that in 2020, and I haven't gotten any better at pool since then, so most of the time the cover's on, so I hate to disappoint people, but there we go. So the main fish room here has 4 smaller tanks and 3 larger tanks, and again, you've got really important things here. You got the hobby table here for making model boats. You got let's see, you got the little mini fridge, and I know I don't drink, so mini fridge is stocked with all the best stuff like Sprite, root beer, Diet Coke, and Fresca. So great stuff to have in your fish room. But all joking aside here, some of the tanks in here are just grow out tanks. They're just tanks where I'm trying to find fish that are got potential and let them develop a little bit of color. Like got some lemon jakes and some eureka jakes in here. Really the only of the lemon jakes are really showing any color just yet, but so they're from a breeding pair that I had. Got another one. These are all the eureka jakes here. Again, just little. And you got to have a tank for when your females are to the point where they're not going to produce anymore, but you don't want to say goodbye to them. You want to keep them around and treat them right. So I've got a 75-gallon here for females, and I'll throw a male in here every now and then that needs to color up. And it's a great place for him to develop a little confidence and security amongst some bigger females. And I try and treat it just like any other tank and give them scavenger fish and other fish to make their life interesting. Got a breeder tank up top here. These two are 75 gallons, one above the other. And I build these stands myself, which is kind of fun. And every time I build a stand, I kind of do it differently. I learn a little bit more about building every time I do one. And you can tell they're just made out of stud grade lumber. Nothing super fancy. You can get these 2x4s for about $3 each at the lumber store. So you can build yourself out of particle board, some screws, these types of stands, and they do a great job. Nice and strong. I don't worry a minute about whether they're strong enough because I built them myself. So you need to have a comfortable chair to sit in your fish room. So that's my comfortable chair for the fish room. And then here's a couple of my favorite tanks. Now these are mostly Malawi cichlids, but for me, what happens all the time is I'm putting together a group of fish and something isn't working out, and their fish are not getting along, and I need to put them somewhere else for a little while. So that happened a lot in this tank here. So the green terrors weren't initially part of the plan. They were part of a plan to have in a different tank, but I ran out of room and time, and I thought, well, we'll put them in here for now. And these green terrors, I've got 4 in here, have gotten along extremely well with these Malawi cichlids, for the most part Malawi cichlids. But also Mr. Frontosa there from Lake Tanganyikan, he was in a tank with 3 other Frontosa and started bullying them and giving them a hard time, and I needed a place for him. And he has just fit in so well with these guys. He's not the boss of the tank, but he definitely shows these guys he's not going to be pushed around. Also, another bully fish here, this Trocheus duboisi. I had an idea of keeping him in the Tanganyikan tank, but he was a little rough on the other Tanganyikan, so he wound up here too. So what you find in my tanks is not that I just necessarily throw all rules about keeping things from different lakes and continents in different tanks. It's just necessity throws these fish together, and in many cases, like in the case of these ones, it's worked out very well. So I don't really plan on taking any of these fish out of here. As I go through the tanks, I look at my favorite fish, and I guarantee you they're different than a lot of other people's favorite fish. I mean, I like the green terrors, I like the frontoses. I really enjoy venustus, and some people call venustus a giraffe cichlid. Usually I'm more of a scientific name kind of guy, but I've been doing this since 1988, and I just have some old habits. In any case, in this tank here you've got mostly Malawi, but some pretty cool fish. I was telling Jake that one of my very favorites here is this Rhodesii. He's a Buccochromis species, and only found out about him a couple years ago, and I thought, what a cool fish. I really like his coloration, his temperament's good. As you can see, I got another one there that isn't colored up, probably a female, but it could be a male too. I found that with Africans, unless you check and make sure, quite often they can fool you. A male will disguise itself as a female, and you won't even know until you take out the other male when the second male colors up. So this tank here, this is probably, if I were to say, you know, you got a favorite tank out there, this is probably my favorite tank. I just like the way things work out color-wise, temperament-wise. Everything just seems to work out really well in this tank. I started out with about 20 or so baby dragon's blood that I had kicking around. A batch of hybrid dragon's blood that my fish bred, and I thought, well, let's cycle this tank with a bunch of dragon's blood. So I did, and I've taken out, a lot of them, but I left in 7, and I added another one in that I got from somewhere else. And I just feel like they're my favorite fish in here, just because, not that they're my favorite fish overall for any beauty reason, they just seem to add the right kind of color mix to the tank and make the tank look vibrant and exciting. So one thing about building a fish room like this is that you can have fish on both sides of a room like this, but it's pretty darn inconvenient for photographing and videoing, because you're always getting the reflection of the tanks on the other side of the room. Much like in that other tank, I have some fish that don't really belong. They're not like the others. This Tropheus murray is a really good example. But again, I had a dozen. They were not being nice to each other, and I found no way to keep them together without them killing each other. So I've dispersed those that were remaining from the dozen that didn't kill each other, and I've got them in different tanks. So one of them's here, one of them's in a school aquarium that I take care of, another one got passed on to a friend, and one of them's still in the Tanganyikan tank. So you find some fish here are just here because I'm a big fan. One of my very favorite fish in the world is this one right here, and he's a Nicaraguensis, I guess a South American cichlid. And Nicaraguensis was a fish that I kept and bred 37 years ago. And when I was activated to serve in the Army for Operation Desert Storm, I had this breeding pair of Nicaraguensis that I had to give up, and passed them on to a pet store and all the fry that they had, and they were just a favorite fish. I like the color, I like the way they behave. Everything about them was just amazing to me. So my mother at one point commented in one of these videos, what is so special about that fish? And I guess it's just that nostalgia thing. So I really like Nicaraguensis. There's this larger one here, and you notice the female is not very colored up right now because they're not breeding, but they're a wonderful pair. They have mated but been bred before too, and they're great fish. Notice the other venustus in the background here. This one's getting a slightly different color than the other one, and I brought in another female from a local who was rehoming. So just really like my venustus, love the dragon's blood, the yellows. We used to call them electric yellow, now they call them yellow labs, whatever you want to call them. They add some good color in here too. Recently started breeding the lemon jakes. This is the father of the lemon jakes that I have in this and other tanks, and I've got one of his offspring in here as well. Just you can see he's getting some pretty good color, and raised a lot of those. Another fish that I've been keeping since back in the old days is blue dolphins, and this tank and the other both have a fair number of blue dolphins. I think I've got about 5 in each, and the blue dolphins are continually breeding in here. So you've got a female down here who's holding, but I have more blue dolphin fry than I know what to do with. So in this case, these guys are going to be part of the circle of life and fish food for everybody else. So hate to be callous about it, but if we were to save every fry that's ever born and somehow figure out how to raise it to adulthood, we'd run out of aquarium space in very short order. So the 210s here are probably my favorite tanks, obviously my biggest tank. So as I'm giving you a tour of my fish room here, those are the ones that I spend the most time looking at and enjoying. Now we mentioned the 40s here, that I'm raising some lemon jake babies and some eureka jake babies. I don't have any adult eureka jakes, so I'm kind of excited for these ones to grow up. Saw the picture of their male parent and it blew me away. So someday these guys are going to be just gorgeous. Trying to breed star sapphires. You can tell I've got one colored up male here, 5 females, random other fish in this tank, just to create a environment conducive to mating. This male has mated 4 times with the same female in here, this one up above, and every time she has not carried those eggs to the completion. So we're obviously still in the learning process here about breeding that particular kind of fish. If it were dolphins, I'd be able to say exactly what I'm doing wrong, but I don't know what to say about my efforts there. So anyway, Case, these 75 gallons are a couple of great tanks for me. I bought them brand new a year or so ago, and they've been great to have around for grow out, for breeding, and for putting fish out to pasture. All right, and the last tank in the main fish room here is this 125 gallon. And the 125, I just got a couple of light risers for this tank, and a gal that I built the stand for had the light risers. They weren't working out perfectly for her, and so she passed them on to me, and I really like these things. They're 3D printed by a company called something Garden, Green Fish Garden. Yeah, so I had to alter them a little bit. I had to cut off just a little bit of the back of the tank mount, just so that I could fit them on a thicker tank, because I think they were made for a smaller tank. But the idea of having the lights up above allows the light to diffuse better, and this one just really makes the black background on this tank pop, and gives me a really good even lighting. So kind of excited about that, new things in my fish room here. But this is my Tanganyikan tank, and as you can see, if you're familiar with Tanganyikans, that I've got some a few different species that I really enjoy. One of them is Cotto punctatus, a breeder up in a place called Salem, Utah. uh, Bob Allen bred these guys, and he has been breeding Tanganyikan cichlids for over 50 years. So since well before I got into the hobby, and I believe Bob is around the age 85. Still breeds cichlids. I got these Lulupi from him too, and he was thinking they were just kind of blah, nothing, not his best, but I've really enjoyed them. The Tridocephalus that I've got in here are also a long-time favorite. I had them back 35 years ago, and I've got 3 Tridocephalus in here. They're constantly doing battle with each other, so not the world's most peaceful cichlids, but they, I do love the look of them, and they're such a unique fish. I also have 3 very good sized frontoses in here. I believe a male and 2 females. So they're not always getting along, but I believe we have a couple in the process of pairing up right now. So we'll see what happens. These Lulupi, by the way, chase each other around relentlessly all day long. Never seen any of them get injured or hurt each other, but they sure do like to squabble. The giant Danios work really good as dither fish, as do the yo-yo loaches there, that pair of chubby yo-yo loaches, and 1 Tropheus morii. I found that some advice I received about Tropheus, they talk about brown fish in Lake Tanganyikan, so we'll call him the brown fish. You can only have 1 type of brown fish, and you have to have a lot of them or 1 of them. So I'm still learning about Tropheus. They are a tricky family of fish to keep. They're very much a colony fish, and I don't have enough of them to make a colony, of course. So while I attempted to do it with about 12, I believe I had, and it didn't work, I've given up on that for the time being. So really like my Tanganyikan tank. The look of it was kind of a work in progress. Had to restart this tank once because of a cyanobacteria problem, and since I restarted, it's just doing super well. So there's my Tanganyikan tank. Just last night I brought over 2 fish, a mated pair of Neolamprologus burchardi, and you can see one of them here. They're probably setting up shop to breed again because they've been breeding for quite a while. But I pulled them out of their isolation tank and added them to this tank, and they've adopted the left side of the rock pile for their home. So there's my Tanganyikan tank. Really love Tanganyikans. They're unique and different. I was telling my nephew today that I have 2 black and white striped families, the frontoses and the Tridocephalus, and I have the Caudopunctatus and the burchardi, which are the kind of light brown. He said he really likes his daffodil burchardi. I would like daffodil burchardi more than these regular burchardi too, but these are the ones I got, and they were practically free, and I enjoy the type of fish. I love the lyre tail and the different shape of the fins. So there the other one is. So they seem to be continuing on with their breeding, but I didn't have any space for more of their babies, so I thought, well, I'll bring them in here and see what happens. So, whoa, good. There he is. All right, so zooming out and on to the next room. I'm only going to spend a minute or 2 in the other room because there's not too much exciting going on there, but it's part of the fish room in a sense. So if we go down into next to where my furnace and storage room are, oh, lights have gone out in the 1 tank for the night, and they'll be going out any second here. So you've got burchardi baby tank, you've got Angara baby tank, both 40-gallon breeders. So lots of Angora babies, lots of Burchardi. I'd show you what's down here in this tank, but it's not too exciting. We've got a couple of silver dollars, some blue dolphin babies. I do have 20 black Calvis babies in here as well. So just kind of a mishmash of babies grow out. And one more set of tanks right next to the furnace. And you can see this one is covered with algae. A couple of a 40 gallon and a 29 gallon. Both just grow out tank for a lot of fun babies I've got growing up right now. So anyway, that is my fish room tour. One thing that I was going to say that I really like about my fish room is I figured out a little bit of an easier way to do a water change system here. And it's not as high-tech as a lot, because you can see there's this tote bucket with a siphon and a hose, right? So the siphon will reach out to any of these tanks here and drain to a floor drain next to my furnace. And the water hose goes to this sink in the back of the furnace room. And this little sink here just serves as a good place to clean up messes. And down there in that floor drain, that's where that siphon hose goes to. And not super exciting, but I'm telling you, it makes things a lot easier. Water changes are just a breeze because I siphon down to the floor drain. I refill. If I'm refilling in the back room, I take it out of the left tap. If I'm really refilling in the main room, I refill out of the right tap. You can see I got a little valve here to shut off or turn on the water, hot and cold, and it just winds up making my life a whole lot easier. So hope you enjoyed the fish room tour today and knowing all of the ins and outs. Someday I'm going to do a video about how this room came to be, which happened only a year ago. So hopefully I'll be putting that out in the near future. I've got big plans for this room in the next couple of years. The racks on the end will probably be moved over to the furnace room, and I'll have a couple larger tanks there. And this 125 will probably become a double-decker. So there's a very good chance that along here, where I've got the Titanic collection, all the Legos and the kids' toys, that this will be a good place for another possibly 2 10-gallon, or I might do a 180 that's a deep, tall, but not long. In any case, hopefully this is just I wouldn't say the beginning, but this is one step in the process. So my goal is not to have the most fish in the world or the biggest tanks in the world. My goal is just to be able to walk in here and enjoy the beauty of these fish and be able to share that with others. And that's why I have YouTube channel, Facebook page, and things like that, because I really like the idea of sharing what kind of fulfillment and happiness this brings to my life. And it's not the only thing that brings me happiness, but it's one of the many things that adds to the quality and happiness of my life. So there we go. Hopefully you enjoy the video of my very own fish room tour. So you have yourself a wonderful day, and thank you for watching.